Hey, what's on guys? Welcome to my spoiler-free review of Suicide Squad Hell to Pay. So unlike the first Suicide Squad animated film, this film is part of the DC animated universe. The first film, if you guys don't know, was Batman Assault on Arkham, and that came out back in 2014, and that was actually part of the Batman Arkhamverse, which is the whole Batman Arkham video game series. And after the failure of the live action adaptation, I was a bit concerned that this film wouldn't really do these characters justice, just because the track record has been really faulty and the trailers looked okay. It didn't have anything super amazing and super groundbreaking in them, but I still wanted to watch this movie just to see what would happen. This is definitely one of the bloodiest DC animated movies that I've seen since Flashpoint Paradox. And Flashpoint Paradox was probably the bloodiest DC animated film, so this comes in at a close second place. So that just tells you just how bloody this movie actually is. And I have to say that this film really did justice for the Suicide Squad, because the Suicide Squad's always been part of this whole like darker, more brutal side of the DC universe. And the live action adaptation didn't work, and Assault on Arkham just didn't really get me with the whole connection to the video games, and I didn't feel as invested with the characters. But Hell to Pay really pays off on those aspects. Another cool little bonus is that even though this is part of the DC animated universe, it doesn't really rely on Batman to push the concept forward. All the other animated movies have shown Batman on the cover of like the DVDs, and then on just in the actual film, and his role is just kind of just there. And they mostly did that just for marketing reasons, so people would actually watch this film even though it had nothing to do with Batman. And this is where the movie actually shines, because it doesn't show Batman in the film or any other major DC characters, and it doesn't even mention them by name. The only people that are actually mentioned are the Justice League, and that's literally one line that Amanda Waller says like around halfway in the film, and that's literally it. So that was actually a pretty big relief for me, just to see, a movie standing on both its legs without having Batman holding it up and kind of just putting them on display. The most impactful aspect of the film for me would be the concept. I'm not going to dive into any of the details on this concept because it would just be falling under the whole spoiler territory, but the concept is really fitting with these kind of, more darker, more brutal characters. With this concept, the film was able to introduce some new characters that we haven't seen in the DC animated movie universe yet, and which personally for me was a good breath of fresh air. I'm not going to say who those characters are either, just because they would fall under more spoiler territory, but there's one specific character that does come in around the beginning of the movie, simply for like narrative purposes, but that was actually pretty cool to see. This concept also brings about a strong narrative for the film. What makes this narrative a little bit different from any of the other previous DC animated films is the fact that it ties into a previous DC animated film that's not part of the DC animated universe, or at least I don't think it was at that point in time. So it was a really cool little tie-in right there. They don't really tell you about that tie-in until much later around the third act of the film or so, but it was a nice little tie-in. The narrative also kept the movie paced at a good digestible level. But apart from the concept, the movie also does a decent job with animation. The fight sequences are much more natural compared to the other Suicide Squad films, including the live action one, and even some of the other DCAU films that I've seen. Despite these achievements, the film still suffers from the whole general DC animated universe flaws of average voice acting, and then some cliched writing followed by some more cringeworthy writing, all in poor attempts at humor. But I did get a few chuckles out at some of the humor, but most of it in general was just really stale. But fortunately, you can't overlook these flaws because of the other noticeable moments in the film. With a deep narrative, clever concept, and some decent writing, Hell to Pay is the film to renew your faith in the Suicide Squad. Overall, I give Suicide Squad Hell to Pay an 8 out of 10. That's all I've got for you guys. Just my overall quick spoiler-free review of Suicide Squad Hell to Pay. Let me know what you guys think about this film. Have you seen it? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Is your faith renewed in these characters at all? I know their comic book run seems to be doing pretty well, and then they have this animated adaptation. So I think those are two things that are holding up the Suicide Squad, plus their whole addition to Injustice 2, so there's still room for a fan base for these characters. It's not like it's completely just gone because of the previous films. Also, if you like this review, then smack the like button, is always appreciated. And if you want to see more reviews like this and more superhero content, then subscribe to see more. I'll see you guys next time.